What is up, Wretched Nation? Today I have some things to bring to you that you do not need to buy for your gearhead in your life. These are going to be more motorcycle related, but you can probably move this over to the car guy or girl in your life because they all kind of work. But we've got a handful of things to not buy them. And in the end, I'll show you a few alternatives that they will probably appreciate that you can get last minute at most of your stores, as in I probably waited too long to make this video, but I actually saw Biker Bay Beth make this video. I'll link her video in the description and you go check her out. If you're watching me, you probably watch her, but I liked it. It was something new and I had some ideas of my stuff. I do agree with most of her things also, but let's roll the intro and check out what I have to offer. All right, guys, let's start off with item number one. It's something so simple and so easy, something you see at like the checkout line and you're just like, oh, let me spend $5, $10, but don't do it. And that's a multi-tool. These little cheap multi-tools, while they can be useful, they generally don't get used. They do make some higher quality versions, like Leatherman's, and they are nice. But a lot of people don't use these, while I usually keep this in my bag on the bike. Most things are kind of cheap and they don't work well. And it's something that's just going to kind of get put to the side. Again, it's not a terrible option, but if you wait to the end, I got some better options for these for this price point that people will probably appreciate, and this just ends up not getting used. So, bad gift. Don't buy it. Don't gift it. These little cheap multi-tools, and they even have some cheaper, smaller ones. They're just not going to get used. So, let's put that off to the side and forget that. So the next item, kind of in that realm of thinking, Walmart, Harbor Freight, all these people, they always do this. They package up little tiny screwdriver sets, bit sets, whatever. And a lot of these are just kind of for very specific things. And while, yes, they could be useful for certain things, I think I got this last Christmas or the Christmas before, and it is still packaged. Not that I can't use it, but a lot of these, in my opinion, are marketed to look like a value when they're kind of not. And maybe especially to market to people who don't really know a whole lot about tools or mechanical stuff, and they want to gift something for their friend or partner or whoever, that kind of stuff. And they end up just not getting used. So $10, $15 just kind of gets wasted. And it's just, they're hard to use. They're very specific in what you can use them for. And generally that stuff just doesn't come up. So try to stay away from those. Now, there are some small tools that can work, but a lot of times the person you're shopping for will tell you what they're looking for. And that ain't it. So let's go to the next item. And that is specific for motorcycles. I guess some cars could use this, maybe project cars, but for motorcycles, this isn't it. And that's battery tenders. Now, this isn't the tender itself. This is the little plug you use to put on the battery. If you got somebody in your life who's got like a race car, like a project car, or like a hot rod, this might work for them, but for a motorcyclist, don't buy it, only because they probably already have one. I think I got this with a bike, and I don't really need it. I mean, a lot of times when people sell their bikes and they're not looking to get another one, they sell their covers, their helmets, their accessories, their tenders. I got a couple battery tenders that I don't even need, just because usually when people sell off their used bikes and they don't want to ride anymore, they just get rid of their stuff. So a lot of times you'll buy this and the people won't use it, or like me, one of the bikes I had a lithium battery, and a lot of your cheaper standard battery tenders won't charge that. I went and bought a nicer battery tender, and it'll do both. It knows exactly what it is once it plugs in. And these are just one of those items that a motorcyclist in your life, if they want it or need it, they go buy it because they need to have it. And so it's one of those afterthoughts that, while yes, is it something that's good? Of course. But it's kind of like buying somebody a regular cup for their house. They probably have cups in their house. Like it's, you know, or like just a random bowl. Like they have bowls, you know. uh, while is actually thoughtful and useful, most people just already have it, and it's going to be a little bit of a waste. Unless they specifically asked you for it and you know exactly what they need, I wouldn't buy that. There is a little bit better option that I'll show you later that people don't have as much. But let's continue. Now this isn't for a motorcycle because I didn't want to take mine off the motorcycle, but phone mounts. This is actually a phone mount for my desk that my wife got me a couple of years ago, and I use it. I can mount my phone on it because I watch a lot of YouTube, and while I'm working and doing stuff, I'll just have this up and out of the way, but it's for a desk clamps. But I'm talking for the bike. Now, phone mounts, while they are useful, if somebody with a bike wants one, they have it. And it can be phone specific. As phones get bigger or they change size, they may have to get a different mount. And if they break or whatever, they're gonna buy what they want. Some people are cool with a super cheap mount. Some people want those really expensive mounts. And unless they specifically send you something that they want, I would steer away from that. It's just they're gonna have what they want. It's kind of that simple. There's nothing else to really talk about. Just it's a gift that you are more than likely going to get something wrong, or maybe you'll get them something they didn't quite want. They'll either won't use it or they'll just use it and be unhappy and won't buy what they wanted because they already have something that kind of works. So just steer clear of phone mounts. It's just that simple. But this last thing, do not buy your motorcycle friend. Just don't do it. They're not probably going to appreciate. I'm not trying to be funny. If you are an older audience member, you might like it. But if you're like 35 or under, don't buy it. Just don't do it. Especially if just don't do it. And that's a Harley shirt. Just don't. Generally speaking, Harley shirts are kind of on the way out anyways, especially for younger riders. People just don't do this anymore. I know it was like a old cliche back in the day. You would ride to a Harley shop and you'd want to get one of their specific shirts. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I just said was you ride to the Harley shop and you get one of their shirts, especially if you're out of town. That's something like people may collect or have memories of, like if you live in North Carolina and go all the way to Florida and you go to Daytona, maybe you want to go to the big Harley shop in Daytona and get a shirt from there. It's something especially men, like if they want to collect and just have for memories. But when you purchase one and give it to somebody, that memory just isn't quite there, and it's just a random t-shirt. And they're usually not that cheap. So while there's nothing wrong with Harley shirts, they don't have that impact as a gift. So I just wouldn't do it. And this is the number one thing. Just don't give Harley shirts. There's 10 times better things to give than these random shirts. And hopefully you didn't get too offended by any of those. But just don't buy them for your motorcycle friends or even your car friends. Just don't do it. But here are some things that you can buy that people will probably appreciate more. And they're probably cheaper. But let's show you that. First, on the trend of Harley shirts, don't buy them that. Get them a smaller company's clothing. Generally, especially starting on Black Friday and going into Christmas, these smaller clothing brands like myself, they're going to have big sales. And on December 1st, I always start a mystery bag sale because I like buying mystery bags from other companies, and it's a great gift. You can get, usually it's like 50 or $100, and then they just throw in a bunch of random clothes. I mean, it's your size, but you don't know what print you're getting, and it's an awesome gift because if you give somebody like my brand to another person who likes my brand, it doesn't matter which t-shirt you picked out because you didn't pick them. It's a mystery bag. And usually it's a really good deal. You can get them a hat, beanies, t-shirts, whatever. It does not have to be my brand, but anybody's that they like or even you like, because they're going to get such a better value. Think about doing that versus just a Harley shirt. They don't want Harley shirts. But moving on. All right, moving on to the next thing. This is very cheap and simple. Magnets, little extender magnets. This is a whole lot better for your car people, but even bike people, you drop those little tiny bolts and of course then those nuts and they drop onto the transmission case or bounce around and you have to find them. And these little magnets help out so much and they are usually a couple dollars. This one's a little bit nicer. You can get the cheap versions and they will appreciate this even if they already have one. These things are great because you'll break them, you'll lose them, and you'll need to replace them. These things are awesome. So if you want a little cheap tool, even if somebody's already got it, they're going to appreciate these little magnets. And if you got somebody who does a lot more work and wants something a little bit better, or maybe you've bought one of those in the past or you know they have those, got something else for you. It's the magnetic trays. These things are amazing. While you're doing work, you can just throw bolts and nuts, and especially if it's a small little task that you're not having to, come back to, if it's a one-day thing, throw everything in these little magnetic trays. It makes it so easy. Even if you're just using a couple different sockets, you can put your sockets in here. They're not going to roll around. They're not going to do any of that. These things are awesome, and they're a couple bucks. Harbor Freight is the perfect place for these. They have them individually, and they have them in little sets. So nobody's going to be mad if you buy them these. And with how little money they are, and you can go run and get them today, think about getting them little magnetic trays. They're going to love it. Another thing that's super cheap is zip ties. Everybody needs zip ties, and they're not going to be mad about these big bundles. Now, I will say they're probably not going to use these yellow and green or whatever. They're just not. But these are the big, bundle packs from Harbor Freight. But they do have them all individually sleeved for, white and black. Those are probably going to be the ones you use because I have used nothing but black and white out of these. If I just need to tie some stuff up to keep them organized, I'll use the other colors. But on a vehicle, I'm either using white or black. But these are only a couple bucks. And even if your person has a bunch of this, they're always going to want more. You can leave some in the car, leave some in the bike. You can leave them in the house. You can't have enough zip ties. So they're going to love it. Anything like that, they're going to love. Another thing I don't have, so I'm going to represent it with a screwdriver. Especially that you have for I don't know why I said it like that, but especially for your motorcycle person in your life is a multi screwdriver. If you have, I forget what piece it is, but if it's a 10 or 12 piece multi screwdriver where the bits come out and change, they have them for just Phillips and flat. But if it's for your motorcycle enthusiast, get the one that has a couple Torx bits on it. My dad has one of these. I actually used it out in California to pop my nose cone off to try and see what was going on with my amp. And it was really nice to just be able to pull out one screwdriver and be able to take off the windshield with a Phillips and then flip around and get all my little Torx. And I think it even had 1 or 2 Allens on it. I asked for one of these for Christmas. We'll see if I get it. but that would be really good. Those are a little bit above and beyond what you see in the store year round. They're a little bit harder to find, but when Christmas time rolls around, usually they're out and about. So get that for even your car person or your motorcycle person in your life. They're going to appreciate it, and it's better than just a regular screwdriver. It's awesome to have on you when you travel. And last but not least, if you're thinking about a battery tender or anything like that, you got somebody who travels, and even if they don't have a bagger, a jump box. But I'm not talking about a big jump box. I'm talking about one that holds a little tiny package. I got this right before my trip to California, and it's got a little charger. I think this was like $80. You can even charge it in your car, which is ironic because it's a jump box for your car. But hey, this right here will start your car. The technology is insane. And if it's going to start your car, it's going to start your bike. You have to be a little careful with the plugs, these alligator clips, because they're not super long. And you have to do it in a certain way. But these things are awesome, and they fit in such a small little package. Now, this is the nicer one because it actually has a wall outlet, and it also has a flashlight. It's a pretty cool thing. I got this because of camping. If we go to a camp out or whatnot, I wanted to have a wall outlet in case I wanted to bring a fan. But this thing is great. They charge your phone. They have a little outlet for small things. I mean, they can't do but so much. But having a jump box for trips is an awesome thing. And you can get these pretty cheap without the wall outlet. Why not? I think you can probably get them cheaper than $50 without the wall outlet. Or even just a battery bank for somebody's phone, especially if they ride a bike that's not a bagger. They may not have an outlet or something to charge their phone with. A lot of the newer bikes are getting to that, or it's really cheap and easy to wire up like a regular USB plug. But this is an awesome gift. It's a little bit more money. If you're looking at buying something like a battery tender or something a little bigger, buy them something like this if you think they don't have it. And even if they do, they can throw this in their car, throw the other one in the bike. This is something you can have multiples of and not be mad at. You may not use it all the time, but man, if you need it, you're going to be glad you have it. So that's my list of things to do not buy for the motorcycle person in your life. And here are some alternatives that you may actually want to give and they will actually want to receive. So if you made it this far, please like this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, please consider to subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And well, you know, it's almost Christmas. You can give a gift to me and I'll give a gift to you. These videos. But enough is enough. Keep it wretched.